We are ruining English! Wow, that felt good. Sometimes in my life, I have been asked a question that I cannot answer. But I always try to answer with grace and coordination. Our language today has so many different variations that it's hard to keep track. But no matter what you speak, it comes down to ethnography and modernized linguistic anthropology. Now, I know that's a mouthful, but they really are essential into the development and the future of our language. What frustrates me the most is that people are learning to speak and type incorrectly. And no matter your age, it is widely accepted. A text from my mother will have the same amount of LOLs and OMGs that a text from my friend will. Now, obviously, we aren't going to have 4-year-olds screaming words like soliloquy, because that would be very improbable. But if you can, kudos to you. Although many of us in this room have been exposed to great education systems, I can assure you, a lot of us don't think about prim and proper grammar on a daily basis. Think about how many of us learn a second language. I take Spanish right here in school. When you learn Spanish, you learn vocabulary, then you work on grammar, and that's where a lot of us struggle. Take a simple sentence. Yo estoy conduciendo. It means I am driving in English. First, you would need to learn vocabulary that yo means I, estar is the verb to be, and conducir is to drive. Then you would learn how to conjugate the verbs. Estoy is the yo form in the present tense, and conduciendo is the present progressive tense. But to put that all together, that's where the grammar comes in. And since a lot of us struggle, we're encouraged to practice, practice, practice until we're perfect. But since I don't need to think about what I'm saying in English, I often fall into a cycle of using improper grammar and saying all these abbreviations out loud. And as much as I hate to say it, this trend is growing due to the vast amount of technology we have at our fingertips. When students type an essay, everything is clear because the computer checks your work for you. But if you ask the student to recite the same report, we're reminded constantly of our flaws, the redundant use of and like, you know, how this is ruining our language. Even I use them. I was texting my longtime friend Deanna. I was responding to her invitation to a party. So I said, I've been OMW to Florida, but I'm going to your party, Def. She texted back, oh. So I immediately thought that she was either angry with me or that I had been uninvited to this party. So I texted back to ease the tension, if that's okay, to give her the option. And she texted me back a confused, huh? And I had no idea what was going on until she texted back, I thought you meant DEAF. We can see in this example of texting that it's very hard to communicate via texting and typing when you can't express emotion. Although I really want everyone here today to speak correctly, it's probably not going to happen. As a part of the millennial generation, it is hard to think of a time when I didn't have a computer in my home, or when my parents didn't have cell phones. And although technology is great, there needs to be some line that we shouldn't cross. Programs like ABC Mouse and PBS Kids are very beneficial to our youth, and they teach them literacy. And for the older population, cyber commuting and presenting things via Google Drive so you can access them anywhere in the world, that's great too. As a student, I handed in a presentation 2 minutes before class. And maybe that's not the best thing to do, but there needs to be some form of moderation so that my children aren't glued to a screen. So what do we do? Well, if we don't do anything, our generation will be known as the generation of blighted English, or the society where everything went wrong. And I certainly do not want to be known about that, and I can assure that most of you wouldn't like the same. So a solution starts at school, with teachers and students and principals and many of the people we see here today. First, we need students that struggle without speaking with this use of power language to reach out and ask for extra help. And also, on oral examinations, they should be graded thoroughly so that they know where they are messing up. Also, I feel that we need to stop teaching that writing and speaking are totally different things, because they do go hand in hand. Any student who is writing a word in an essay they would not know how to pronounce themselves shouldn't be using that word. And although everything we're taught is great, we need teachers that take interest in the individual student. Caring teachers make caring students. Inspiring teachers make inspiring students. And the only reason that I'm up here today is because 4 amazing women that incited this great interest in English. Of course, Miss Seeroff, Miss Rebecca Levy, Miss Dawn Silvestri, and Miss Tilly McNamara. I wouldn't be up here today if it wasn't for their constant leadership and striving for me to get better. Now, that seems like a really long solution. But it comes down to, why is language used the way it is? Why should I use this as an adverb? Why do I need an adverb? Why is this word an adjective? What is a noun? And why do I need one? Although that one of these may seem basic to anyone who's taken an 8th grade English class, it's really not elaborated on. So we need to teach why these things are and how to use them correctly. So my mission to all of you, after you hear everyone speak today, I want you to go home and think about what your idea worth sharing is. And I want you to think about what you would like to share to the youth of today, like myself, and the youth of tomorrow. And I want you to speak it good until we all learn to speak it well. Thank you.